If you are satisfied to lead from the past, stay out of the digital world. If you want to influence the future, brace yourself and get in the fast lane. Let me repeat that again. If you are satisfied to lead from the past, stay out of the digital world. If you want to influence the future, brace yourself and get in the fast lane. This quote, crafted by Dr. Albert Mohler, is a dire warning to the church today. We must embrace the digital world. We live in a world populated by digital natives, a term coined to describe the masses who are in love with their smartphones. If we want to engage them with the gospel of Jesus Christ, we must learn to use mobile apps in fulfilling the Great Commission. So I would like to share with you 3 key principles for using mobile apps in reaching the digital native. First, we need to know our audience and we need to go where they are. Secondly, we need to redeem what already exists. And thirdly and lastly, we need to create what's missing. During this presentation, I'll also suggest a few mobile apps that can help you integrate into your daily life and daily ministry to help you reach the digital native. So the first key principle is to know your audience and go where they are. In December of 2013, the Alhambra Police Department joined Weibo, a Chinese microblogging service. So you might be scratching your head wondering, why would an American Californian police department join a Chinese-based social media site? In order to understand its decision, you need to understand a little bit about Alhambra. Alhambra is a city located in the western San Gabriel Valley region of Los Angeles County. The city is predominantly Asian, with about 39% of its residents identifying as Chinese. Many of these Chinese are first-generation immigrants. As immigrants, they import many of their own personal experiences from China, including their interaction with police from a communist state. So the Alhambra Police Department had a serious problem on their hands. The people that they were serving were deathly afraid of them, or many of them just didn't understand what the police do. So the Alhambra police had to find a way to educate the community and reduce the fear that was created by these experiences that these immigrants have had. So the first key to reaching the lost through mobile apps is to know your audience and go where they are. The Alhambra Police Department had identified their audience, which was mainly Chinese first-generation immigrants. Then they went where they were, Weibo, the Chinese equivalent of Twitter. So the police department opened their Weibo account in December in order to alleviate much of the fears these residents had and to educate them on the police's role in the community. So how well do you think they did? In just 3 weeks, they had 6,000 followers on their Weibo site. They were also making national headline news throughout China. Now, 9 months later, they have 39,000 followers. The response, outstanding. So as you can see from this example, the first key to successfully reach the digital native with the mobile app is to figure out where they are and go there. The second key to reaching the lost through mobile apps is to redeem what already exists. With over 1 million mobile apps ready for download in both the Apple and Google Play Store, there are plenty of apps that can be repurposed for evangelism, discipleship, and many other things. We just need to redeem them. The idea of redeeming world's technology for kingdom purposes is not a new concept. Around 500 BC, Rome had begun developing a road network throughout their empire. The network was designing this road system because they wanted to move armies across their empire quickly. They wanted to speed up communication, and they wanted to encourage trade among the different cities. When the disciples received the Great Commission, they used these very roads to spread the gospel throughout the known world. By redeeming the Roman roads, the gospel message was able to spread faster and further than 700 years ago, or before. We also must look at the existing mobile technologies and discover ways to use them for kingdom purposes. Let us look at a few examples that demonstrate this point further. And we're going to begin by grouping a series of apps together under one umbrella or one category. and that category is social networking. This includes Facebook, Twitter, Weibo, Instagram, and many other apps. The core principles of social networking is all the same: to get people who have a common interest and connect them together. We have all experienced the bad side of social networks. Many times our news feeds have been cluttered with political rants, selfie photos, game invitations, advertising galore. But despite these negative drawbacks, social networks make it possible for us to develop relationships with people across the globe. They provide a Roman road for this generation. Facebook. Facebook alone has 864 million daily active users. And out of that, 82.2% of them are outside the United States and Canada. That means that from your little mobile device in your pocket, you can connect with 171 million people across the globe today. All you have to do is do it. This makes social networking a prime candidate for redeeming. But how do we do that? To redeem social media, we do it exactly the same way we do with evangelism. We first find a common ground to connect with somebody. So on Facebook, you could actually do a search based on interest. One of my favorite interests is board gaming. And as a board gamer, I could just go onto Facebook and say, who likes board gaming? 200,000 people love board gaming on Facebook. That's 200,000 people I could connect with and start building a relationship just talking about board gaming, the very thing I love. After you connect with people, you need to start a conversation. And as you strike up that conversation, you begin to develop a relationship and you bring the gospel to them. Sadly, though, I have to say that many people doubt the effectiveness of online relationships. Some argue that these relationships are not genuine. But I'm going to counter that argument by sharing a story with you. A story that shows the true impact of online relationships and how it can really impact the world. On Sunday, October 5th of this year, a shocking post appeared on the popular entertainment network site called Reddit. This is what the post read. "This is Caesar Octavius. Tonight, I'm taking my life." The post continues to explain this young man's battle with depression and his desire just to be loved. It was a cry for mercy and for grace. The community reacted swiftly, and they started putting posts up along with that post, sharing love and care and support, and even giving thoughtful anecdotes of some of the things they were struggling with. 50 community members put a live online chat system together and went in there and did everything they could to convince this man, no, your life is worth it. A couple hours later, the young man went back to Reddit and put up another post. He had decided to step off the ledge and to get professional help. He credits that to the relationships that he developed through the social media sites. This image here is from one of those people that connected with him. And so online relationships cannot be discredited. Even though ultimately we want personal one-on-one relationships because that's the preferred means for evangelism, we cannot discredit the power of online relationships. God provides technologies like social networks to increase our reach. And it provides us an opportunity to impact the lives of people across the globe. So we should redeem social networks and reach out to the digital native. As we continue our discussion on redeeming what already exists, I want to focus our efforts on the work of discipleship. I believe there's many apps that can help you as you disciple a young man, young woman in their walk of faith, but as well as when you're being discipled too. Apps like Facebook Messenger, Skype, Google Hangouts, they all provide great ways to stay connected all the time, but they also provide a great way to share what you're learning. But I actually want to show you an app that most people probably don't know about. And the app is called Bonfire. Now, Bonfire is a chat room app that allows you to have private chat rooms. So as the creator of a chat room, you can decide who's allowed in it. If you want to invite your friends, you can send them a QR code or an invite code, and they can easily log into the chat room that way. As the creator of the chat room, one of my favorite features is the ability to send out a survey. So if you want to kind of get a pulse of what people are thinking or what they're feeling, you can easily send out a survey. And these surveys can be either short answer or you can do multiple choice. So imagine you have a weekly Bible study that you meet and you want to keep update during the week. You can start a chat room and talk during the week about things that God's teaching you, what you're learning in the scriptures. And as the leader of the chat room, you can send out a survey to say, hey, here's some questions regarding to what we read this week. Tell me what you think. However, though, there is one problem. Even with the abundance of apps available to us, not all of them fill the unique needs of the church. So the third key for reaching the lost with mobile apps is to create what's missing. Believers with a passion for mobile app development are important in creating apps tailored towards evangelism, discipleship, accountability, church planning, mobilization, and many other aspects of the Christian realm. We need apps built by people who share our faith. There are many people who have seen this need to create apps that are missing, and I'd like to highlight a few of them right now. Just the other day, I did a quick search through the the iPhone App Store, I knew I was going to say that wrong, using the term Bible. Guess how many results I got? 6,815 results. I think we have a lot of Bibles. But there's one app I would like to highlight because it's got some unique features that all the other apps really don't have. And that is the YouVersion Bible that you see on the screen there. The YouVersion Bible has over 1,000 different versions and supports over 740 different languages. The app includes hundreds of Bible reading plans from John Piper, Billy Graham, Focus on the Family, and many more. These Bible reading plans will let you know every day that you have a commitment to read the Bible, and then it will show you exactly what you should be reading that day. And then what's also really neat about the YouVersion Bible is they added a social component to it. And so the app is perfect for discipling young believers or even unbelievers. So imagine you have a friend who's just interested in hearing about the gospel and like reading the Bible, but they've never accepted Christ. If they're interested in reading the Bible, you can become friends inside the app. And as they're doing their reading, they can post up their thoughts and what they're thinking about as they're reading, and you can follow along and see what they're doing. Also, if they want to ask you a question, you can immediately pull out your iPhone and respond to them with an answer. And so now they have immediate answers as they're reading the Bible instead of waiting a week to talk to you when he has a chance. You can also have a feed of all your friends that you have in the app, and you can keep track of what your friends are learning as they are growing in the Bible as well. I also want to make a quick side note about the guys who actually created this app, Life Church. They believe in open source technology, the idea of giving things out for free, because they want to empower the church. So one of the things they build is this thing called churchonlineplatform.com. And what it does is it's a system so that you could broadcast your sermons live online with a prayer features and a bunch of other things, and you can use it completely free. So if you guys are interested, you should check that out. It's a really awesome tool. They use it themselves as well. Last year at a coding competition called Code for the Kingdom, a team of developers began drafting a new app for prayer. As they sifted through all the different prayer apps that were available, they noticed that there was a commonality between all of them. They all mainly were text-based apps. And so they realized that text is just unsuitable to capture the true heart of prayer. I mean, have you ever tried to text your prayers to somebody? It doesn't express the emotion behind your prayer. So they began to create an audio-based app they call Abide. The main feature of Abide is audio-based moments of prayer. These are bite-sized prayers by various Christians and cover topics like family, growth, hope, thanksgiving, courage, and many other things. And they're very small, 2-minute audio-based prayers. These prayers can help you focus more on God when you do your quiet times and direct your prayer times as well. But the coolest thing is if you have a young believer, you can have them using this app and they can hear these prayers, and that's how they can learn to pray, because they can hear all these people and how they pray. But what makes this app the best app of all is the fact that you can send prayers to other people. And all it does is it sends the prayer to their inbox. They don't even need the app to see it. It opens up a web page and they can play the audio right there. Imagine the profound impact when somebody who's struggling with a sickness receives an inbox full of actual prayers instead of just text, "I prayed for you." Can you imagine the impact if an unbeliever received prayers from you on a regular basis because you're praying for their family or their struggles or their divorce or all the things they're going through? Think about the impact you can have on an unbeliever. I will say, though, the Abide app is currently only available in the App Store, in the Apple App Store. But before I leave this topic of creating what is missing, I want to share with you my experience of standing in the Sistine Chapel. If you have never stood in the Sistine Chapel, my words will fail to express that moment. It was just amazing. It will literally take your breath away. As I stood there staring at the ceiling, which portrays the birth of man, and the wall portrays the final judgment of man, as I'm standing there, I'm captivated by the skill and the craftsmanship of this Renaissance painter, Michelangelo. It's hard to imagine how long it must have took him to paint every little detail of that painting. But something happened after a few minutes. I began to forget the painter. Instead, I began to think about the God that was portrayed in the artwork. God's glory began to reveal itself behind the painting, and I was overwhelmed by his majesty. Then I looked around and saw a sea of unbelievers staring at the exact same ceiling. They too were experiencing exactly what I was experiencing. They were encountering the God of the universe through the artwork of a man. Similarly, the church has a unique opportunity to display the glory of God in the mobile apps we develop. For this to happen, though, we need to do two things. First, we need to encourage more Christians to become mobile app developers. As Dr. Albert Mohler reminded us, in order to influence the future, we need to participate in the digital world. Secondly, we need to disciple developers to have a heart for the unreached, and we must teach them to commit their lives to fulfilling the gospel. It's my prayer that we'll see more Christian developers take on the mantle of missionary service. In conclusion, all of us want to reach the digital native with the gospel, and mobile apps can help us achieve that. By applying these three key principles we talked about, you can effectively plan out your outreach strategy. Begin by developing a knowledge of the audience that you're connecting with, and go where they are. Next, see what mobile apps are available, and then redeem them for your purposes. And then lastly, you may need to create a mobile app that's currently missing. Encourage young believers to learn mobile app development and have them serve in this great task. Ultimately, we all should desire to spark innovation in our churches. We want to build mobile apps that demonstrate to the world the God we serve. Thank you very much.